Hi, this is Randall with Carter Hill Honeybees in Northwest Alabama. Today I want to talk about this beautiful purple blooming tree behind me. In my area of Northwest Alabama, it's commonly known as the Eastern Redbud. So this tree is like a second marker for me in my spring build-up season, where I'm trying to utilize blooming flowers in nature to kind of tell me what's going on inside my colonies without looking. So in my video where I talked about predicting swarms using hazel alder, I touched on that, and it's been about 6 weeks since I produced that video, since they was blooming. So now this is blooming, so this tells me that in my colonies, some of my stronger colonies will have drones starting to emerge. I'll have a lot of capped drone cells. I'll have drones in the purple-eye stage, and also probably about a week or so from now, it'll be safe to start grafting for queens. By the time they would come out and make their mating flights, there should be enough drones in the air to properly mate a queen. Also, seeing this tree in bloom right now tells me that any colonies that are not managed for swarm prevention, like in a tree or somebody's house, undisturbed colonies are probably going to naturally commit to swarm within the next week to 10 days. As the nectar becomes more available, there becomes less room for the queen to lay, and they're going to commence plugging it out. And once there's a few days without young brood in there, or young larvae, then the swarm commitment process begins, and the reproductive swarm issue should take place within a couple of weeks after that point. And so far, we seem to be in line. I've not heard of any natural swarms in this area. Now, I had the one last week that I did the video on, but that was from my interference. That was not a natural swarm. So sometime between April 5th and April the 15th, I should be hearing about a natural swarm in this area, and we'll see if that happens. I'm not expecting any swarms really in my colonies. I've got mine managed pretty good at this point, but anything can happen because we're dealing with honeybees, and it's a wild insect. But for the most part, it works out pretty good. As a side note though, this tree is totally covered up with bumblebees, and there's some honeybees here. I got a yard about a quarter mile that away, and some of those bees from those colonies have come here, and they're really working this over pretty good. I'm sure this tree may not be found where you are, but there should be some kind of a blooming tree or flower in your area that would allow you to, with some practice and checking up, you should be able to isolate a particular blooming plant that will kind of help you use that timeline if you so desire. But I find this to be pretty accurate, and I come up with this back in my no treatment days, where I kind of had a hands-off approach. I basically only pop the tops 3 or 4 times a year on my colonies. So that's kind of how I come up with this. I tried to leave them alone as much as possible. Now I'll be getting in them a little bit more, that I've learned some new stuff. There's a honeybee getting some of the nectar, maybe some pollen. I can't really see it that well. But working one of those Eastern Redbud flowers. I hope this is focusing good. And there's another bee. There's about 10 or 15 of these trees right here. You see some more down the road. This tree is absolutely beautiful. It's easy to identify. It blooms here just before the trees really start to green up good. So I can spot these a mile away. Beautiful tree. So there it is. I've been waiting a while. I've been wanting to show this off about the Eastern Redbud, and I hope you got some benefit out of this. I appreciate you for joining me today. Appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you the next time.